and the goalkeeper wasn't impressed about the goal. John's running back to the halfway line, and the goalkeeper's like, kept playing Saturday and Sundays, so Saturdays was mainly Slatherentians. So at that time I was playing Saturdays, Sunday mornings, Sunday afternoons. I did that till I was 39.
Yeah.
How the state of football has changed, how the attitude of players have changed. I don't know, PG's have changed.
Go, 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 yeah.
Welcome back everybody and welcome back to another Ultimate 11 POGESCAST. We're here today with our special guest Gary Reeves. How are you, Gary?
Thank you very much, and many thanks for the invite. It's a pleasure to be here and a privilege to take part in this.
Just really want to start from the beginning, really.
It's always a beginning, yeah.
So, in football, how to get into football and why?
I grew up in Langley, went to Parlour Park Junior School, then on to Hunbury Secondary School on the Parlour Road. It's not there anymore, it's now in Legea Centre there. Class of 76, we used to call ourselves, reasonably good school team. Then straight from school, obviously been involved in football and always played football all my life. Ever since tiny, so I've always been in the school teams and stuff and a bit of junior football. Anyway, left school, straight into men's football at 16. Played in the Industrial League for a team called Lanalek, and which then changed their name to Warwick, which was a small firm which I think are based in Raysbury, I think.
Okay.
Near Graveners. Remember Gravener Wolves?
No, but
a really good side, Gravener Wolves. Anyway, played a couple of seasons for them, and on Sundays, and we won the league in one of those 2 seasons. It's really good. That was my introduction to men's football. Broke my leg. 18. Week before Christmas. In the lower leg, just above the ankle. Back playing in 12 weeks.
Oh, bloody hell. Okay.
Incredible recovery.
That's quick.
It's quick. I remember on the first game back, we actually played Gravener Wolves and we actually won, I think it was 3-1. And the first 10 minutes, the guy came and tackled me. It was a fair tackle, took me out on that side, left foot, and it was a crunching tackle, and I thought, no. But it was great. Nothing happened. The leg was good. On from there, football-wise, I got involved in Saturdays. Went and played for my first couple of spells, early spells at the Slatherentians. Kept playing Saturday and Sundays, so Saturdays was mainly Slatherentians. Went on to play for Denham. I had 2 spells at Denham United in the Chiltonian League. That was good, a really nice setup at Denham United in those days, under a guy called Roger Porter. Sundays flipped around and played for Castle United and also Slough Motor Company on Sundays. That was locally. But Saturday was mainly Denham United and Slatherentians. I did have a very small involvement. I played for Egham Town.
Oh, okay.
Never made the first team, but played in the reserves there. It was, I think, some kind of called the Suburban League. So we still played games against like Staines and Slough Town and stuff.
Yeah, I remember the Suburban League,
But then it was probably around, I was 20 it was, I started playing up in London.
Oh, wow.
As well, so I signed for a Celtic Supporters Club team. Obviously I'm a Celtic fan, we'll probably come on to that a bit later. And I signed to play in the London League, which was on Sunday afternoons.
So is that the London League, the old boys league?
It's
like
like
no subs?
It was called the EBFL League, which was the Association of British Supporters Clubs around London. So there was 2 divisions. It was basically, there was no London teams in it. It was like Celtic, Rangers, Manchester United, Man City, Everton, Liverpool. All the teams that had that lived outside London but had supporters clubs within London.
Yeah.
It was a league that was formed, and we had a very, very good side. I played 7 years in London, played at Hackney Marshes, Battersea, Regent's Park, Women's Scrubs in the stadium that's next to the ground, next to the playing fields. Played all around there for 7 seasons. Then I did my knee, did my first of my 2 ACLs, so it put me out of the game for a little while. So at that time I was playing Saturday, Sunday mornings, Sunday afternoons. I did that till I was 39.
All 3 games over a weekend?
So I was 39.
39.
And trained twice in a week.
So you're fit then?
I was fit, yeah. So, but in all that time, from when I was I started at 16, did my first cruise ship when I was 23, and I was playing for a Ford garage in a friendly. And I done, it was over at Wickham. Do you remember the Wickham on the A40? You got the there used to be some grass, artificial pitches a long time ago.
I think
right
I
in
do,
the roundabout there.
yeah.
They may not be there now.
No, they're not. Well, I know what you mean.
Anyway, I did my first and my 2 ACLs there, and I was out of football for, at the time I was 23, 24, I was told I wouldn't play again, and I did.
I was just going to say, because ACLs, I mean, with respect, back in that time,
Yeah, it was,
they were just career-ending industry, so they
never
didn't have the technology to go and do what they do now with them.
I was out for 13 months.
Blimey. And even that's quite a short time considering.
And I came back in playing in, I said I wouldn't to my wife at the time, because I got married just after I got the ACL. I said that I probably won't go back to football, but I started taking part in a bit of running, a bit of going goal on 5 sides. And also the buzz that never goes away, come back, it's there, and that sort of enthusiasm, the drive that you want to play again is there. So anyway, I did play again, and I went back to playing. I went back to Saturday football, and also went back to Sunday football as well.
Wow.
And as I said, because that went on until I was 39, but I then continued my playing sort of career as such, playing grassroots football. I could never go back to Egon Town because I couldn't play that level again.
Yeah.
Not that I was that good enough to get into the first team, but I played.
But still level, yeah.
Still played level. But anyway, so I then played again with Stoke all the way through that, and went back to playing up in London for my second spell in playing for the Celtic Sports Club, and all successful. Won a few trophies in London, won some cups and that with Stoke Interventions, and that went all the way through to probably I was 42, and then did my second ACL.
Oh, okay.
At 42, again in a friendly.
And did you recover to play again?
I did.
Wow.
I did my second ACL, which was, they called it at the time O'Donoghue's triangle, where you do the lateral, the medial, and the ACL. It's called all three times, three gone.
Yeah.
Knee was a mess. They rebuilt it for me again, and I did play again after that. My last game was I was 54.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
I'm now 63 in Jan. My last game was again a friendly for the company I worked for, was a company called Autodata. I played 72 minutes of a game at 54.
I remember Autodata, or their
Yeah,
garages, anyone's mechanical or whatever.
Yeah, so I worked for them for 12 years, so that was my last game. There wasn't, so I didn't have much games between 42, the odd five-a-side for Stoke Interventions, because when I made a decision that I can't really play anymore, so I had 2 knee ops. I had a cartilage done on my right knee as well during that time.
Yeah.
That's a quick recovery on the cartilage. So both 2 on the left, 1 on the right, the knees had work on. So I just took part, cause I stopped playing football, and I started taking charge of Stoke Interventions reserves as a manager.
Oh wow, okay.
Secretary, whatever you call it. Dick Kershaw, everyone knows Dick Kershaw, and Dave Aswell.
Yeah.
Me and Dave played together at the back for Stoke Interventions for many years. But and then also there was a guy called Scotty that was running the reserves. I took over from him.
Okay.
And my cousin got involved, John Humphreys, and we started forming a decent reserve side.
Yeah. Now I remember you from Stoke Interventions. I played against. I don't think you would imagine this. I played for you when you were playing.
Yeah.
Definitely played against you.
Yeah.
And I remember you managing him as well.
Yeah, I got most of
the DCC.
Yeah, we got to the final. One of the finals, I think it was. Well, we played when I came back the second time. We actually won the Slowtown Junior Cup, beating Slough Eaton at Burnham 3-2. Got beat at Winter Great Park in another final, 4-3 in extra time. And Chris Britton, who we know well.
Yeah, love Chris.
He knows that game very well, because we were 2 up at half time, and they came back and went 3-2 up. Admittedly, their third goal I don't think was a goal, and I still say to Chris, it didn't go over the line. He said it did, I said it didn't. But
there's always controversy with things with Chris, isn't there?
But it was a great game. We eventually got beat 4-3 in that game, and to be honest, it was a game of two halves. I think a famous cliche. Anyway, so that was that. But St Vincent's reserves, we went from strength to strength, and we eventually then managed to sort of like almost take over the first team. We went to be the main team.
Yeah.
We had a young side, and do you remember a team called Running Horse Vets?
Yes. I
A
remember.
really good side.
Yeah.
A few not ex-pros, but
I think it was Bracknell would say it's our guys. And
well, we actually got to a final at played at Windsor Stag Meadow, and I think they beat us 6-2.
Oh wow.
We took the lead in that game. Their goalkeeper took out our forward, Ollie, took him out completely. It was a send-off, and the ref didn't send
No,
off.
I'm going to say you didn't send off the...
No, it was a send-off, Darren, it was a send-off, mate, and so we would have been 1-0 up and down 10 men, but what a team they had. And they come into our dressing room after the game and said, we're the only team that season that actually pushed them, and they beat us 6-2.
Wow. So, was this in the East Berks League, or was
Yes,
it in the old Slough?
It was
District
the
League?
East, because the East Berks, the Slough District League was the early stages of the East Berks,
Yeah.
which I was involved in. It was then that we were then called the Hayes and Giles League.
Yeah, so we went
Hayes
from...
Giles Insurance Company used to sponsor the league.
That's right, yeah.
So that sort of it all went into cycles like the sort of district league, the East Berks, and Saturdays. Then went to the Hayes and
Giles,
yeah. But it was Dave Aswell that actually prompted me to come on board the East Berks as a club rep.
Oh right, okay. So you're at Slough Laurentians.
Yeah.
So twisted your arm, did he?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, but looking back, I suppose most of my footballing career has been through the Stoke Supporters Club. As I said, I think we won 11 trophies.
Oh wow.
On Sundays, and I won a fair few trophies.
So Gary, just so again, a bit of background again. Obviously Celtic's come a couple of times now in Supporters Club. You don't sound too Scottish now.
No, I'm not Scottish. The Celtic League, the Scottish League, as you might put it, is purely from my mum's side. My nan. My nan was a lovely Scottish lady from Falkirk, Grangemouth actually, a little town outside Falkirk, right on the Clyde, right on the Tay there, not far from Edinburgh.
Okay.
It's Docklands and stuff like that around the area. And my nan was a Celtic supporter as a child. She come down and met my granddad. My granddad was in the Royal Life Guards, military man, and he was from Lancashire, Warrington.
Oh wow.
He's a rugby man,
Yeah.
but Bolton Wanderers fan.
Oh wow. Okay.
Loved the Tom Finney tour.
Yeah.
Tom Finney and stuff like that. Now we're going back.
One for the teenagers, eh?
Yeah. So my nan was my influence. Spent a lot of time when I grew up in Langley, because I lived in Humber Way, and I lived in 1.5 Humber Way, and all my cousins lived in 204 Humber Way, and my nan was in 190 Humber Way. So my nan was at 204, my cousin 190. So we were all in a very close area. Lovely family time.
Yeah.
So my nan was quite impressionable on me when I was younger, and we had some family coming down from Scotland when I was about 6, and he was self-daft, and him and my nan were the main reasons that I started supporting Celtic. He became a pen pal, got programmes sent down to me, etc, etc.
All right.
And
So it starts from there. Yeah.
I just went Celtic daft. They've been the only team for me. My granddad took me up for my first game at 15, I was 1975. And this is another little bit of nostalgia, is that we were up for a game in January. It was a week after the Rangers had beaten us 3-0. Jock Stein was the manager, and we get to the ground really early, about 10:30. I don't know why, but I wanted to go to this souvenir shop, which I used to get things sent to me, and I wanted to go and meet them.
Oh right.
Because I was a regular getting programs sent down from the souvenir. And I was sort of like a little tiny shack it was at the time. It's obviously advanced to a superstore now, as it always does.
Yeah.
We got to the ground, and Granddad said, "Look, maybe we can get a tour of the ground." I said, "Well, 10:30?" I don't know. He goes, "No." He goes, "Don't ask, don't get." knocked on the door of the Celtic Football Club. Big door with Celtic FC on the top, right? Big wooden, sort of like long doors, a bit like going into a church cathedral. You know those long doors? Big ones, really high. So, knocked on the door. You're not going to believe this, but Jock Stein answered the door.
No way.
Answered the door, opens the door, right? So he said, hello, morning. And my granddad said, well, just come up from England. And my grandson is Celtic daft, and we thought we could maybe, is there a chance we can have a look around the ground? He goes, come, I'll show you around, come in.
He showed you around?
Jock Stein then spent the next hour on a match day.
My goodness.
He took me around the dressing rooms, trophy room. He let me kick a ball on the pitch. I had a picture taken with him, which I've still got in the tunnel.
Amazing.
And he said, I'm going to sort out 2 tickets for you in the complimentary stand behind us here, in the stand. And he got his 2, one in the director's box.
Wow. I think anyone would be a fan if they had that treatment.
15 years old, didn't know what to say, because you're like, what? Jock Stein. And I managed to have a chat with Jock. What a lovely man. To take time out on a match day was fantastic.
That's just amazing.
And we lost the game. My first Celtic game, we played Motherwell and we got beat 3-2. Willie Pettigrew, and probably a lot of people won't know who Willie Pettigrew is, but he was a thorn in the Celtic side in the 70s. He scored twice, and Harry Hood scored twice for Celtic. I had the pleasure of seeing people like Billy McNeil, Jimmy Johnston.
Oh right, really?
Jimmy Johnston was one of my idols. And we come to that later on in my childhood. Hence the shirt.
Yeah, I'll see the shirt, but we'll talk about it later on, yeah.
But and that was my little story there about my first game with Celtic. Since then I've gone mad. I'm a shareholder. I'm still on the season ticket list. I've been on that for 3 seasons now.
Fantastic.
And it's gone mad. I'm just Celtic daft.
Love it. That's fantastic.
I'm involved in supporters clubs, Reading, Hayes, Ramsgate, Maidenhead.
Wow.
Yeah.
Football man then.
Yeah.
How's your wife put up with it all?
My wife's been fantastic. We've been married, got married in '84.
Oh wow.
So she's been fantastic, been my rock through other things I've got in my life with some things that have gone on with me. With prostate cancer and stuff and the melanoma and stuff. But she's been fantastic to be there and to play football and be involved in football for like over 40 years. You've got to have an understanding wife.
Definitely.
Because
definitely.
Without her being there, I've been lucky.
It's a common thing.
It's also having a nice relationship where I can go and do my own thing. But sometimes you sort of like, there's a line and you're late back, say I'm at a Burnham game on a Saturday, don't get home till we're playing down in West Country, and don't get home till 7:30 at night, and we're due out that night. It does get a little bit difficult. Yeah. But in terms of playing wise, she's always been there and got me through most of my injuries. So it's been great. But yeah, definitely an understanding wife, and she's lovely, and I love her to pieces.
Well, shout out to your other half.
Yeah, shout out to Shirley. Yeah, she's fantastic.
Fair play. So obviously, so you started in football locally. You've played in industrial league, and there is a league that doesn't exist anymore on Sundays.
Christ, yeah.
I've taken that. Yeah, and for those who don't know, yes, industrial league used to be because we've got a trading estate around here. It was predominantly all company teams.
It was,
and you used to have teams like Ford's. Aspro Nicholas. There's a club and everything there as well. Yeah. And there's lots of clubs that had pitches and such around the area. And ICI obviously was another one.
Yeah. ICI. They play Saturday and Sundays.
That's right. And they probably have some of the best pitches around.
Coopers as well.
Coopers, yeah. We'll see. Yeah. So yeah.
Good side.
Yeah.
Very good side actually.
So there was loads of sides around the area, and they all played on Sundays at the time, all the industrial sides, and then obviously that.
I suppose that's evolved, isn't it? Evolved into where we are now, I suppose. They were at the forefront of local football, weren't they?
They were. And obviously then you had the Thames Valley on Sundays, which is still going.
They're still going.
And then obviously Saturdays, and as I say, we mentioned the Stoke District League, which I remember that's what I played for when I first started. And then Hayes and Giles, so thank you Hayes and Giles for all your support there. and then become the East Berks League. So did you come involved when it was the Hayes and Giles League?
Yes, I came on the around that time because Andy was the chairman and of the East Berks because he was sponsoring the league. So Andy was on the committee for a number of years.
Yeah.
It was around that time that I got prompted by Dick Kershaw, Dave, go on, be a club rep.
Why were they prompting you? I mean, obviously they must have seen something there.
I think that also they wanted a bit of a voice. Influence voice to go to committee meetings, which is why now in this today we always try and get clubs to put forward there, and that's a good thing if you can get a member of a club to come on board the committee, because it also gives you a voice, gives you an opinion, gives the committee members another opinion. So if you've got 7, 8, 10, 12, 15 people around the table once a month and 5 of them are club reps, you've got 5 views from people who are actually there on the Saturday. It's very important in moving football forward, and I think Dave and Dick Richard wanted me to come on board to just be an opinion, have an opinion.
Good. And obviously you come on board and you started attending meetings and such like, and what year was that?
Come on, it must be 2008 or 2009, 8.
Oh right, okay.
I think it was around that time. I was only a club rep for a couple of years, and then there was a guy who was secretary called John Williams.
Yeah.
You may have known or heard of John Williams.
Yeah, I remember John.
He's a nice guy. Lived over towards Newbury Way. He is now a committee member of the current Thames Valley League, I believe.
Oh right, okay.
So, John, I spent many a night with John because I had this thing inside me. I'll have a go at that, being General Secretary. And John sort of took me under his wing, and I had a couple of visits out to his house and stuff, and had a look at what he does and how he does it, and took some sort of not education, but just an inkling as to what I'm taking on board.
Yeah.
And that was it. I then became General Secretary of the East Berkshire League. Have been since up to now, which is 2022. So I've seen some changes. Seen how the divisions we had 4 or 5 divisions have come down, how the state of football has changed, how the attitude of players have changed, how it's got a little bit depleted, is that the right word?
No, I think you're right. I mean, obviously, when we were playing, 80s and 90s and some of the 2000s, football was different back then. A lot different, and it's hard not to look at it with rose-tinted glasses on because I remember looking at the East Berks League and Hayes and Giles League and having 6, 7 leagues at one point in time. In fact, someone we had on a few weeks ago, Scott Young, he does a local Facebook page with all the leagues and stuff. He mentioned that in the podcast.
Scott does some fantastic work.
Oh, it's a great guy.
Oh, unbelievable.
Yeah, it was a real pleasure having him here on the podcast, to be quite honest. And
Scott's, I've known Scott a number of years. What a guy.
Yeah, such a nice guy. And he started putting those leagues out there, and you start looking at the names that have dropped away. And you mentioned something like Running Horse, for instance.
Running Horse, yeah.
Then I remember people like Condors and
Condors
and people like that. To be quite honest, they're just all gone.
Yeah, Slow Irish,
they team.
Massive club.
In fact, I think a couple of guys that may be involved with our sponsors, main unit. I think one of them was playing for Slow Irish at some point in time.
I think Slow Irish played Saturday and Sundays.
Yeah, they did.
Because I think they were linked to. When I also played for Upton Dynamos on Sunday. That's straight to Henry, and we used to play out of the Coachmakers at the back of Stanway Street.
Oh wow!
That was our pub. So I played for them for a number of years as well on Sundays. Another team I played for.
That is other parts. Pub teams.
They had the Brophies that played for Slough Irish and for Upton Dynamos.
Yeah.
They had a good side as well. And that's another. It's just bounced into my head then. With so much football and.
There was a lot of football. I mean, we were used to having teams that were, in Division 3, and that'd be fantastic. But they wouldn't be able to get up because to be quite honest, just struggled because there were so many good players around at that point in time.
And I don't know if
the
you
standard seemed to be higher.
There used to be a team. They were always in Division 4, Division 5 for these bucks, and it was the inmates of the prison.
Broadmoor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Patmore Strikers.
Yeah.
Remember them?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, Patmore Strikers.
So you go there, you go to that cage, and they'll
The cage,
the cage.
Yeah.
That's just incredible. If you've never played there,
Yeah.
you just can't imagine. If you have, you guys will know what we're talking about here.
We won 6-1 there. My cousin scored a goal, and the goalkeeper wasn't impressed about the goal. John's running back to the halfway line, and the goalkeeper's like running towards him. He's got gravity tackles.
What's that film? Monk. It's like that.
But saying that, I also played there against Broadmoor staff in the County Cup for Denham United. We got beat 2-1 there. What a hard side they were. All 6'6".
Yeah, they were there, weren't they? It's I mean, there was certainly some sides and characters around there.
They were
back in those days,
and Scott's brought that to life a little bit with what he does now on Facebook, hasn't
he? Yeah, to be quite honest, there's a couple of great pages on there. I think when some boots have laces or something, it was called, and obviously Scott's one as well, and they're fantastic. And you see the odd photograph go up. The sad ones is actually when you hear about people passing.
And there's been a few of those recently, hasn't
there? There's been a few, unfortunately, recently.
And some mentions there of local football.
Absolutely, yeah. And I mentioned Scott, and I put a photograph up a couple of weeks ago from our club in 1925 on there. And I've got another one to go up. I'll show you in a little while. I'll put it up this week, actually, on the local football pages. It's from 1980, and there's some players in there. Adam Yoss and Russell Killock.
Bloody hell.
So some names, and they look so young.
Yeah.
They look so young. But
I mean, it's been some great footballers. Look, Slough produced some fantastic footballers. I mean, I grew up with people like Dave Dennis and Floyd Dennis, and also played with Rowan Dodds. Those sort of players, and there was Jimmy Jacobs, another one. Who actually played professionally as well.
Is that Jimmy Jacobs? He's got a son called Mark, hasn't he?
Yeah,
I used to work with Mark. Yeah.
Jimmy was he was in our. He's a year younger than us, but he was in our team at school. He was always playing above his level. Jimmy was a fantastic player. Vaughan Powell as well.
Wow, what's that name? Yeah, Vaughan Powell. I remember him.
All these players. I mean, I could sit here and probably reel off from the guys that I went to school with and guys in my area. Probably 20, 30 players, and they're just a few that I just mentioned there. That, and obviously people like Dave and Floyd were close to me because they grew up next street to me. But some great players.
Yeah, you kind of wonder where these players have gone now. I mean, kind of going into that now, but obviously we're talking about the league as it was, but the league now is so different.
We've done this as well, haven't we?
It doesn't matter. We'll go with whatever comes up, to be quite honest. But obviously, we're both involved in the committee there. You're the General Secretary there, and we've both seen over the last couple of years a decline of teams, unfortunately. And it's gone down from, not that long ago, 5 leagues, and now we're in 2. And 5 leagues of 10 to 11 teams in that league, and we're now at 2.
Yes.
And even with 2, we're struggling teams. And I kind of worked something out the other day. We've not had a new team from the Slough area in 3 years.
It's right. It's all been.
So the last couple of teams that have come into us have been
based.
Yeah, they've all been
Middlesex.
Yeah. So we've had FC Babies, Pundits.
Yeah.
They're the last 2 Slough teams that come in, and Pundits don't exist anymore.
Yeah, it's a shame because I actually like Pundits. I thought they were.
Yeah.
And it's a shame because I think the guy was struggling.
Lloyd,
Lloyd fought so hard to keep that together.
I think unfortunately with lots of teams, a lot of mates, they started out, they did well, and they were going well, and I think the problem is you need then a bit of support.
Yeah.
And now maybe this is probably as a committee, that's what we need to chat about and talk about at some point in time. but Lloyd needed support, and I don't think he had anywhere to turn.
No.
He needed real big help, and the guys, who played all good guys, and got one of them playing for us now on Stoke Poges. All good guys, just still young, and they just need a bit of guidance. And I think, obviously, we're chatting about this, and I know we scratch our heads in committee meetings and say, what do we do? Because again, we've had teams.
I've got my chair left.
Yeah, it's all going. That's a week now, isn't it? I'm going to ask you. I mean, what can either teams or we do to stop?
I think
where we're going.
It's really hard one because we, as you know, you sit on our committee and we have teams that apply, come in, and then sometimes fall before they even kick the ball. I think it's so hard because I think, do you think the mentality of players has changed as well? Because there's so much going on these days. Is there not the same commitment?
I think commitment's the biggest one. I think commitment is a massive thing, to be quite honest. I mean, the problem is what you've got is a situation with there are players out there. There are. I know there are. However, it's getting committed every Saturday. Because, like you just hit on, there are other things going on in lives now. You know, whereas beforehand, unfortunately, our lives are literally football and probably go to the pub afterwards. And even going to the pub after a game, I mean, it doesn't really happen nowadays. I mean, I've got a son guy's good, but it seems to be the same 6 or 7. Whereas we used to get everyone back, at least one.
Yeah, I think that's the thing that's changed. When we grew up, the biggest thrill for me was put a shirt on and play a game of football.
Yeah.
Whether it's on a beach, park, football pitch, you want to go kick a ball, right? And that will never go away.
Yeah.
But is that same drive and enthusiasm there with a current local players? For some, yes, but for some, maybe not.
Yeah, unfortunately, I mean, you played to an age which I'm kind of jealous of. You played to 54, which is what I am now. I played till I was 43, and then my knee went, and I couldn't play any more than that. And I was lucky up until that point because I had no real injuries.
Yeah.
So I played a long time, but now you get players who are dropping out early 20s, and you know, we all have the situation, we've all been in it, where the girlfriend comes along and such like, and she wants to go shopping on Saturdays, and you have to go with her for some reason.
I mean,
why, we don't know. But yeah, it's easier to go than not sometimes. But so that scenario happens. But it just seems there's. I didn't even think about it until recently that 2 teams in the last 3 years. So that just says everything, really.
It does really. I mean, and Slough was also a hotbed of people that want to play football. And I suppose to some extent there is still a lot of people in the Slough area that want to play football, and there's some talented players out there. But I can't really answer why we've only had one Slough-based team in 3 years. It's not very good, is it?
It's a pretty poor statistic to go.
Especially when you get teams from Reading and Middlesex that chomp at the door to come in, but we don't get Slough-based sides.
I mean, again, in the Constitution, our Constitution says that you have to be within 3.5 miles of the town centre to play. And yet we're all travelling the other side of Reading now.
And that's because we sort of like that 3 miles has gone out now, because obviously we've got Slough, Windsor, Maidenhead, whatever it may be, and Reading. We've also got Middlesex out that way as well, towards Denham, Uxbridge area, sometimes towards Staines as well. So that circle has got bigger.
Had to get bigger, isn't it? Really?
Well, I think if you want to provide football, and remember the main object of the East Box is to provide football, provide a safe environment, a safe place to come and enjoy.
Yeah. And
I think football's all about enjoyment as well.
Absolutely.
And if you want to, if you have a beer afterwards, nothing better than having a beer afterwards and talking about the game. And if you only get 6 or 7 players or 10 players, you're still having a beer afterwards, aren't you?
Yeah.
It'd be nice if the whole squad went for a beer afterwards. It doesn't always happen. That's changed a little bit. 20 years ago, yes. Not so much now.
Well, again, I mean, I used to go to certain clubs, and when you turn up there used to be a big, hot container with either hot water or tea in it.
Yeah.
You used to have a cup of tea in the middle of the change rooms. And then afterwards, either in the change rooms or either at a pub or something, you get plate of sandwiches.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
and that's so you as a away team, the generally would go. So there'd normally be at least 6 to 7, if not the whole squad, go as an away team, have a beer. And again, what you used to have is big pictures of beer brought out to you, and the home team would have the same thing.
And I remember Charvey, in the working man. Well, I used to love playing Charvey.
Yeah, it's so well looked after.
And I'll tell you another one as well. This is another name, SEB. Remember they go back to their place in not far from Charvey, opposite.
Yeah, it was in there.
Just get massive bag of sandwiches.
Yeah,
good old days they were.
Well, this is it. You go home and you wouldn't eat. Yeah. Because you'd go about 20 sandwiches somewhere where you've been, and they'd have a few beers. Yeah. And so I know we're kind of looking back with rose tinted here at the moment. Yeah. So it is different.
It's nice to reminisce.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. It's great.
It's memories, that's what it's all about. It's having your life and looking back and thinking, yeah, it's great. Yeah, and I would like to see the same again happening. But going back to the point about teams, it is difficult. And your question is, what do we do about it? Yeah, we do talk about it on committee meetings, but one thing we haven't got, we have no control over teams that do come in and fold. Can we support them? We try, or can we? The Bucks did have an initiative a few years ago where they had this panic button where you could phone them and say, look, we're having a problem. I'm not 100% sure whether that's still there, probably is. I'm not sure. But what do we do? The divisions have dwindled to 2. Premier divisions, again, it's down to 9 at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah, possibly 8.
Possibly 8 if a team doesn't start their season shortly. But yeah, I mean, it does look pretty grim. But in terms of what we were from last season was very competitive in both Division 1 and Division 2. I was really pleased, and I think Division 1 shaped up to be really competitive this season.
Yeah. It is.
It is good.
It seems to be probably the better league out of 2 at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely.
In terms of full season and the standard in it does seem to be fairly equal.
I just want some more people on board from member clubs. Obviously, in the last minutes that went out, we asked if clubs would like to come and attend MC meetings. Obviously, with a maximum of 4, I can't have every person at that meeting.
No.
But I haven't had anything back yet, but I would love to see some other faces that want to come over and speak to us, put their points across. Then we've got something to work with. I know Rob Stevens does a fantastic job getting out to clubs. He gets feedback, relays it back to us at our meetings. That's great. It'd be nice to sort of get some faces opposite us at the table, whether it's from Southcote, Charlie, FC Baileys, any of these teams that want to
So we had Jordan on a week or so ago now, and his podcast went out this week. And one of the things he did say, I actually asked him the question, do you know who any committee members are? And there was a bit of a blank expression in his face. And I think he's obviously heard it himself. Robin he had heard of but didn't know who he was. Brian very much the same. And I think the one person again that all knew was Rob Stevens as such, because again probably more their age group, and he's probably more out there than others have been recently. So the question is, I know now that yourself is going out to more games. I believe Brian's trying to get out to
Brian Bayer's he's going to one today. He went to one last week, and I think Chris tries to get out to games. Obviously Rob Stevens as well. So I think the main objective was to get our face out there.
Yeah.
So last week I went to see Sandhurst against Reading Tigers. Loved the game. Sandhurst won 4-1. Really, really good game. Reading Tigers were in it all the way. Competitive. It was nice to speak to people on both sides, from Sandhurst and Reading Tigers. It was a thoroughly enjoyable trip over to Sandhurst, and I'll be doing more of that, and hopefully the rest of the committee will do likewise, because I think it's important.
Okay. Obviously, we've had teams in the last few years that have left our league to go to Reading League.
Yes.
There are different reasons for that, as such, and I think Scott hit on probably one of the big reasons is that we lost Step 7.
Yeah, we lost Step 7. And Step 7 is a bit of a funny one really, because the FA talked about Step 7 and then it was taken away and so I thought it was Step back, then it became Step 7A. Is there a real Step 7? I'm not 100% sure. The Reading League Premier is in 7A, isn't it?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, so we could try and work towards 7A, but it then becomes a problem with some of our clubs have council pitches, whatever it may be.
Which I think was what Scott hit on in that his podcast. Yeah, go for it. That we had a vote a few years back. It wasn't that long ago that we voted Step 7 out, and I think that the thing which becomes the most apparent thing is roping the pitch off was the actual issue as such.
Yeah. Especially on grounds that councils aren't sure where. But then some grounds councils let kiddies rope their pitches
when they have to,
but they won't let adults.
Yeah. So, do you think that was probably a mistake losing that at that point in time?
I do. I mean, obviously the criteria of Step 7 changes because the FA do change some goalposts here and there, which they're entitled to do because they review things. But yeah, it was a mistake, I think.
Yeah. In going forward, obviously, what as a committee do you think is the priority for the committee to be doing now? Obviously, we're looking at 2 leagues at the moment, one with 8 and one with, I think, 11 teams in it now.
Yeah, because we started the season off with 12 and 13, I think it was.
Yeah.
Because I thought, come June we had the AGM, and I'm sitting there thinking, God, got 12 and 13. I was overjoyed.
Yeah, done a great job at that time, yeah.
But, then we had, obviously, we lost Andy Galaxy, Datchet, Middlesham, which was a big blow. Obviously we got Hype Train, who had their troubles. So tell me, I mean, obviously we're just chatting about 3 teams there that left suddenly. What were their reasons? Starting with say Legea Galaxy. Legea Galaxy was the commitment, I believe. They had a squad of players, and I think maybe they came in quite late. And as you know, the East Berkshire League, we all look at things, and as I said, the main thing is we provide football.
Yeah.
And I'll just go back to remember Robin Warman, who sadly departed us. Robin was a fantastic man who did so much for East Berkshire and other things in the County FA.
Yeah.
What a legend he was, and loved him to pieces. He was fantastic. I've worked with Robin for a long time.
Yeah, good guy. I loved him as well.
County FA and with the East Berkshire, me and Robin used to go to the County FA Abingdon together and stuff, and building as well. He always said, we are here to provide football. So if a team comes in, of course we're going to consider it. Legea Galaxy, Middlesham and Datchet all came quite late, especially Legea Galaxy. And I think maybe it came too quick for them. Maybe they thought about it, let's get in now. Maybe the preparation, maybe they needed more preparation. Maybe they approached us in May and said, look, we're considering it. Gives them a couple of months to get a structure in place.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's the reason. Maybe the commitment for the players is another reason. I'm not too sure about Datchet, because I thought Datchet were bang on to be in and Middlesham, because Middlesham actually played a couple of friendlies, but then they just went. So I can't speak for them officially as to why. But Legea Galaxy, I think, was maybe players.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think one of the reasons which I heard was that the possibility of both Windlesham and Datchet were looking to go into the Prem, or we were looking to put them into the Prem. Even though they both want Division 1.
Yeah, most teams want Division 1.
Yeah. So, I'll be straight up here. We last year were put into a situation where we had to go into the Prem.
Yes.
Kicking and screaming.
Yeah.
Obviously, but that's another conversation. However, in the end, I think the guys thought, actually it wasn't as bad as it was. And probably what the saving grace was, and I've got to say probably thanks to John Brennan, is we had the 2 showcase games. Especially the first one, that's Slough Town, and then we had the one at Burnham. So that kind of says even. But why is there a big stigma about the Prem? What do you think the reasons is?
People, we have some strong sides in it. I mean, obviously we lost Sing Sabah, another big club this year, for various things that are going on within their club.
Yeah.
Which I think has been documented on groups and stuff like that. But anyway, I think at the time when you have teams like Old Windsor, Sing Sabah and Brickwell very strong, maybe teams think, it's going to be hard because you're all going to break that top three.
Yeah, because you talk about players' attitudes. Do you think that we come up to a scenario where if you can't win, they don't want to know? Yeah. Whereas we used to just play football, and I've plenty of sides that come bottom of the league and middle of the league and such like, and not win anything for many years. Yeah, but it didn't bother us. We still turn up. You
turn up every week in, week out, and I'll give you an example. You've probably been there. We've all been in teams where we've been hammered 5 or 6-0.
Oh, absolutely.
6-1, whatever. And say whether you're at the front or the back, or say you're playing at the back and you've got a guy that's scored a hat-trick against you, right? Beat 6-1. Next time you play them, what do you want to do? You want to make sure that you stop them from scoring.
Absolutely.
I mean, properly, but you want to make sure you play better. You raise your game to make sure you mark him out of the game.
Yeah.
I don't think that is there. To some players this season, they think, I've got to be 6-1, I'll don't play against them again. Do you think
it's some of that? No, I do actually. I agree with you. I do think there's a, if you can't win, I don't want to play. It's not worth playing.
So the attitude's changed, isn't it, on players?
Oh, absolutely. 100%. 100% it's changed.
But it's a difficult one because obviously you have new teams come in and they say straight away, okay, we want Division 1. But then if you look at some of the strength of their players, and you can't always do that, but you get a feeling they should really be in the Premier. But we need to look at that more, especially now. I think we have talked about it at committee level, and I think as we get towards Christmas and towards the and turning into the new year, we will be looking at our process very carefully as to what we do. Because really, in an ideal world, for just the 2 divisions, it's easy to have 2 up, 2 down.
Yes.
It doesn't always work.
No.
It doesn't always happen. But in an ideal world.
Yeah.
But we're not in an ideal world. In some respects.
I've got to say this though, in fairness, in the last couple of years, committee meetings, when we do the Constitution, they've gone fairly smoothly. They've actually gone through.
In fact, I said I bounced it earlier. I mean, the last 2 years has been the most easiest. Because, I mean, you've been there, I've been on many AGMs.
Yeah.
It's been like a topic that's gone on for 45 minutes to an hour more.
Yeah. I remember when we first started in this league of Stoke Poges, we come into it from being in a different league, which played Chiltonian type football. Yeah. And my first meeting I went to, we was just over an hour.
Yeah.
Debating whether certain clubs should go up, down, or wherever, basically.
It's madness.
6 divisions then. Because we were in Division 4, and we actually didn't go in the bottom division, we were in 4. So it's just like madness, and everyone's arguing the case, and it took ages to vote. In fact, I remember we had to come back a couple of weeks later to actually vote it all through, because everyone just got frustrated and needed to take a bit of a...
This season was great.
So, again, looking rose-tinted, it wasn't easy. I know you guys had a hard time.
Yeah, it was hard, especially when the team started dropping. The teams hadn't even kicked a ball. That was very frustrating.
Yeah, I can imagine. So obviously you've got the committee at the moment. It's full of people that have probably been on it probably over 10 years now, easily. Most of those guys have.
We've got some new ones come back. We've got the Chris come back, isn't he? Chris
Chris and such like come back to the committee. But
and Alex, the referee, is on board.
Oh, is he? Okay. So one of the things I noticed when I come on the committee a couple of years ago was essentially I was the youngest one there, near enough, about Rob. How do we change? I mean, obviously we've asked teams to say, look, come along. The response to that has been 0 so far. How do we change? How do we get... Obviously, I know at this moment in time there's a lot of teams having a go at yourself and other people on the committee and saying what's going on. But if they're not willing to get involved and put a voice over, or how do we change it?
Well, if I have a conversation with anyone at all, and I say, you know, if there's someone's trying to get a point over or have a bit of a whinge, then just come to our next meeting and speak to us face to face. We will take note of what you're saying, and if it's something we can act on, or something we can change, or something we can better the way that we run the league, or make it better for you guys, then we do that.
Absolutely.
Because we're here to help. We're here to provide a really good football environment. So if you feel that, if that club feels that there are certain things that need to be changed, i.e. a rule change, then don't leave it to last minute. Get that rule change in early, and if you've got a problem with we need more communication, or we need more this, then we will change and make sure that you guys, the member clubs out there, receive everything they can from us to make sure that they enjoy their experience with the East Berkshire Football League.
So yeah, obviously we just end on about the committee now, and we'll go on to other bits and pieces. Guys, the video's gone on for quite a while now, so what we're going to do, we're going to make this a two-part podcast. So just like to thank you for watching this one, and the next part of this will be out next week. So please like, subscribe, and look forward to seeing this one first of all, and look forward to seeing Gary in part 2 of this podcast.
Part 2, yeah. Thank you very much.
No problems, thank you.
Thank you, it's been a pleasure.
No hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go.